Go ahead.
I'm recording, by the way.
Awesome. Yeah, I've had the, yeah, I've heard of the Hauser diet basically, and you kind of
Yeah.
do it by body type, or you can.
No. It's a testing process, but I've done it so much I can tell you just by answering some questions.
So I've gone back and forth. I've been vegan, been almost carnivore.
It's actually pretty easy to understand. So, what's the stimulus for hunger in an animal or a human being? What's the stimulus for hunger? Once I tell you all this, it'll make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
What's the stimulus? There's one stimulus that's supposed to get an animal or a human being hungry.
Okay.
And that stimulus is low blood sugar, of course, right? Your blood sugar in your blood. If you eat for any other reason besides low blood sugar, right, you're going to be overweight.
Yeah.
If you eat for stress or,
Yeah.
you know, like you're only supposed to eat when your blood sugar goes low.
Yeah.
Okay, so the question is, does a person wake up in the morning feeling hungry? So Dr. Hauser, prior to coming to Florida, was unbelievably hungry when I woke up. Like I was living in Chicago, which is a cold climate.
Yeah.
So in other words, that means that I ate dinner at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. Then sometime in the middle of the night, my blood sugar got low. That would be like a carnivore. See, a camel only has to eat once every 2 or 3 days, or a giraffe. Like they don't have to eat all the time.
Yeah.
So if you wake up in the morning, like, so now that now I live in Florida and it's hotter and I'm getting hotter and I'm hotter, then what happens is I'm not as hungry in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So in other words, I changed from like a strictly carnivore to more like like more balance.
Yeah. Okay.
So do you wake up in the morning and are you hungry?
Typically not.
Okay, so you get hungry like 10 or 11 o'clock?
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, so the first answer to the question is more vegetarian, because he's not hungry in the morning.
Yeah.
Then second is, do you feel hot normally or you feel cold? Because you could see, like, I have a sweater on and we're in Florida.
Right.
So Dr. Hauser still is a little bit carnivorous.
Yeah.
Like, in other words, when you're cold, when you feel cold and you're out in the mountains and you're skiing and it's freezing, and you want to get something to eat, you wouldn't go to a vegetarian house, you would go to like a steakhouse.
Yeah.
And when you're at the beach and it's 110 degrees out and you're boiling, you want to eat vegetables or fruits.
Yeah.
So do you normally feel hot or you normally feel cold?
I get hot flashes and cold flashes. I can be freezing and then be sweating and boiling.
Okay, when you drink a glass of juice, how do you feel?
Well, I don't drink juice. I drink electrolytes
Okay.
and water. That's mostly what I drink.
Okay. Can you have caffeine right before bed?
Caffeine has never really been like keep me up kind of thing.
It hasn't.
Hasn't, no. Red Bull has been kind of like my choice.
But can you drink that right before bed?
I can,
Okay.
yeah.
So like I'm a carnivore. Caffeine is like a vegetarian kind of a thing.
Oh.
So it would keep me up all night. So that's another thing for vegetarians. So in other words, if you say you're a lion is the most carnivorous, otter is 75% carbs and fat, a lion is 85%. A bear can eat both, so that's 50-50.
Yeah.
Then a giraffe is a pure vegetarian, that would be 85% carbs.
Yeah.
You're a monkey. Monkey's 75% carbs, 25%. So
Okay.
that's how your physiology is right now. And then most people would say don't have genetically modified wheat.
Yeah,
So
do all
then,
organic
so try to, and then, here I'll do this too. Yeah, so right now, you're, you know, because you're still, okay, so what happens is, okay, so then so what you do is you keep track of you feel hot or you feel cold. So if I eat more protein, which I should, I'll get hotter, and then I know I have to stop eating so much protein. That's how you know.
Oh, cool.
So your body temperature will change.
Yeah.
So,
I've noticed your pee gets really frothy too if
Right.
If you're peeing out protein.
so,
Yeah, I've been more.
frothy pee.
Yeah, I got a head on it like a beer.
You've been drinking too much beer.
Yeah, exactly.
Been great fun.
Can you read the board?
This is a little bit hard, but I gotta have you ducked a little bit more. Okay. There you go, thank you. You're okay, you're strong. Good. I'll double check the dehiscence, okay, I'm sorry I missed that when I reviewed.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
I'll-
Yeah, it's
I'll-
interesting that there was
I'll
a
double
common
check it. I'll double check it. You know how it is, if we get your pressure down, you and I could always, repeat the cone beam or a regular CT scan if you want to see if the dehiscence got down.
Yeah, and I want to track that, and I also want to track
I'll take the peer.
the autofusion that's going on in my mid-thoracic,
Okay.
and I'm doing vibration therapy and other
awesome.
things. So
That's
I'm
good.
hoping that
That's
can
good.
recede, that can
That's
dissolve,
interesting.
redissolve some arthritic growth.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you for that.
Well, I'm already seeing you after you had some surgeries and stuff.
Oh yeah,
You definitely had lost your normal anatomy by the time I saw you.
Yeah.
He's more
Doctors.
machine than man.
Uh,
No, not really.
Well, the anatomy still has, obviously, I'm gonna do everything I can to get it as healthy as we can, but it's, the forces aren't gonna be normal because he has fusion.
There's 4 in this one and then 4 in another one.
Okay.
Yeah, finding balance across the joints
Right.
is still difficult.
You're a better man than me, Kevin.
Well, he's had so many medical procedures, it's just
Sure.
like
Yeah.
nothing compared to recovering after a neck fusion
Sure,
or a low
breathing.
back fusion.
No, the
Well,
low
yeah,
back
he-
fusion was the scariest one.
Well, he was telling me about having his neck vertebrae fused and how they enter and why he has the
Right.
scars on
Rest
his
of your feet?
Yeah, I
neck.
guess so. Yeah, it's not for the faint of heart.
Right.
Well, no, but the thing is, and in hindsight, he might have said, geez, I wish I would have learned about prolotherapy. And, but some of the surgeries, I think, based on what you told me, they were necessary.
It's
Like, weren't
frustrating. I
they?
didn't find you until
Yeah.
I started using Ehlers-Danlos in my search.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's where the internet's helpful, because probably many people have not needed a fusion because they came here first.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I was looking.
And even the
for it.
fusion, the doctors who know about prolotherapy, they normally are receptive to a patient trying that before getting a fusion, because there's the indications for a fusion, it gets muddier and muddier. Like, in other words, because as they follow people long term, it starts changing because the long term results aren't as good. But if you have neurologic compromise, like your spinal cord is getting strangulated, then of course, even a conservative doctor like me would say, you got to get the spinal cord unstrangulated. That's when you need like a decompressive surgery with fusion.
Yeah.
So some of the indications are very clear, but back about 30 some years ago, it used to be where if you had chronic pain, like, they did a lot of fusions
Right.
back, like because I was trained in the 80s, as a physician, I was trained in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
So in the 80s, you had chronic back pain, they would fuse you. Well, then they realized, like, long term, the chronic pain came back.
Right.
So that's where the indications kept getting more and more and more narrower.
Specific. Yeah.
Yeah. I would even say the operations are changing even with upper cervical instability.
Oh, for real?
Because, yeah, as they learn more.
Yeah.
Like Dr. Goel, if you research his stuff, he doesn't even do a craniectomy anymore. He
Wow.
says it's all instability. You got to fuse C0 to C2. So if that's correct, if basilar invagination, Chiari, syrinx, if all these things, in his opinion, can be resolved or helped significantly just by C2, C0, C2 fusion, then it must be maybe some of those cases they could get resolved just with prolo.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to do the same thing, except not fuse you, just stabilize you.
What I'm so
You
afraid
could
of,
start.
so
What?
afraid of getting that surgery is that, like, my brainstem gets pulled to the right
Right.
because C3 is twisted. And so the foundation that I'm sitting on is twisted. So if they fuse it all, I'd have to get twisted in that, or fused in that twisted rate, or I'm still just going to be having this compression on my brainstem.
I think even what we did
So,
today, I think
yeah.
you got it more insight today, don't you think? Like just from our talk this morning.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like, you know what I mean? So you got a few more pieces of the puzzles by coming here.
Yeah, I
So,
can visualize what's happening
Yeah.
inside,
yeah.
and then the images help.
And I have an elongated styloid on the right, so I know what it's like day by day to live with it.